Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome to the Daily Dose, everybody. This is a daily dose of positivity and productivity. And we know everybody is at home. You have this urge to go out and run in the streets. And we understand that we're on social distancing and social isolation right now. But as I've said in a previous episode, social distancing doesn't need to be social isolation. We need to have ways to socialize. We need to have ways to get out and about. For those of you that have seen me on the road, one of the things that we preach and teach is having a Facebook group, creating and leading a Facebook group. And I will tell you that if you don't have one, you need to have one. And today we brought in the expert on creating and leading a Facebook group. Without further ado, welcome to the Daily Dose, Nikki Klein. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So how did you start your first group? You know what, before we even get into that, tell me how you got started into real estate. You own your own real estate company and you have the brilliant team. Tell me where you're from and tell me how you got started into this real estate game.
Oh, okay. Well, where I'm from London, England originally, hence the accent. But now I live in Boca Raton, Florida. I got my real estate license about 6 years ago. And now I have a little team in Boca.
Very good. So all your Boca Raton referrals need to head down to Nikki Klein. So, and I know that you are very much referred. I see you referred in a lot of the Facebook groups and you're very referable. And
we take great care of our clients and referrals.
Well, and the thing that you get that we preach and teach is that post-transaction and pre-transaction type of thing. It is treat everybody wonderful, whether they're a client or not. Too often, especially in the real estate world, and I've seen this in other worlds, is if they're a client between, showing and closing or listing and closing, they're all taught to have this great customer service and everything else. But it's like, what about all those years that they're not in the client process? Is we need to deliver value in that time. And you found a way to do that, probably several ways, but the one big way is to create this Facebook group. So how did you create your first Facebook group? What made you do it? And what was the title of it? And how did that all develop?
So I keep wanting to scratch my face, and then I'm like, no, don't do it. So my first ever Facebook group was actually, I moved to New Haven, Connecticut, and I didn't know anybody. I wasn't in real estate. I just had moved there and with my family. And I wanted to figure out a way to figure out, what's the best restaurant and how can I make friends? And I didn't know how to do that. So I created a Facebook group. So originally what happened was I called it like a New Haven moms group. And then I started getting a lot of backlash from people, backlash. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're in real estate. If you say backsplash and really mean backlash,
exactly,
it's all good. I'll tell you what.
English too, so it could be a real word.
You know what? Listen, we all need a lot of backsplash. Along with,
right. People were getting really upset because I called it a mom's group, and people were saying, "Well, I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I changed it to community group, so that way we could have more people in it." And then it grew exponentially, really quickly. People wanted to be part of a community, and I knew that it was really powerful when I wanted to have speed bumps put outside my house. And the community kind of rallied around, and I ended up getting speed bumps a couple of weeks later. The city got involved. So I knew that Facebook groups were really powerful.
Yeah. And that was in New Haven, Connecticut?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you did the group, and you changed it from New Haven Moms, your mom, and you changed it to the New Haven Community Group. And people started coming in. And
Yes.
were you in real estate at that point?
No.
Okay. So you were just doing this really to make friends and
I've always been a connector. No matter what happens, I've always wanted to bring people together. So it's just part of my nature is to connect people. And yeah.
It's the ABC of the generosity generation, right? Is the old ABC of the ego era was A, always B, C, closing, right? Always be closing, Glengarry, Glen Ross, boiler room, brass nuts, the whole thing. And you know, we've seen an evolution, and that evolution has been going from the ego era to the generosity generation. The consumer is the generosity generation, really. And it's no longer ABC, always be closing. It's ABC, always be connecting. Always be connecting. We need to always, because when you connect, what happens is it's not just the two people you connect to win, it's you also win. So it's a three-way win, and it doesn't cost a dime to connect people. So I hope everybody in their notes puts always be connecting. And Nikki is an expert at this. She's one of the best. And so we have New Haven, Connecticut. We have this group. Yeah. And what did you learn from the first group? Like what mistakes maybe did you make? Or one of them was not naming it specifically moms, but you actually now have a group for moms, yes?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So how about, I love that you took the backlash and made it a backsplash.
Backsplash, yes, I turned it into a backsplash. So I think when I first started creating my groups, I was too concerned about what everyone else was thinking instead of focusing on what my vision was.
Wow.
You can get really caught up in, oh my gosh, this person's, going to think this and this person's going to think that. And you just have to take that out of your mind and focus on what your vision is and where you want to go. And so you're never going to please everybody. That's the bottom line.
I love it. And so from there, did you move from New Haven to South Florida
yes.
within a year or two or soon thereafter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
like 2 or 3 years.
All right. So so I want to get the timeline right. Came from London, New Haven, Connecticut. I want to get to know people. I formed a group and it was starting to flourish. And then you moved to Florida.
Well, there's a little more to the story than that, but we'll just go with that. I was in New York.
We'll fast forward the timeline, right? Leaving out drama and yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But I have to tell you, Nikki, we need to maybe do an extended version of this sometime. Okay. Because honestly, I think the drama and what we're kind of leaving out now is part of the story about you that I love. It's part of you. It's not all sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah.
So it's like
every day.
Yeah. And so we always need to realize that that's just part of our story. That's the journey, right?
Yeah.
And so we are fast forwarding through some of the parts, and now you're in Florida, you have your real estate license. What made you decide to start a group in a new area? Was it just the success of the first one?
Same thing. I moved to Boca and I didn't know anybody. So I created the Facebook group.
Okay. And were you licensed at that time when you created it?
Not when I started it.
Not when you started. Okay. Right. So, which I love this. Here's what that tells me. And what this should tell everybody. We have a lot of realtors in this group, but we also have a lot of lenders. We have a lot of financial planners. We have a lot of insurance agents. We have a lot of small business owners, and we have some Fortune 500 CEOs because referrals are pretty ubiquitous. Everybody likes referrals. Here's the thing. Anybody can create a Facebook group. Anybody, and quite honestly, I think everyone should have and take ownership of their community. And so what's that look like? Here's the thing. You were doing this not for business purposes. You were doing this totally to connect. And that is the power behind this. So when you got to Boca, you formed the group. What did you notice? What did you do differently with this one than you didn't do with the New Haven one?
I do with the other one. I think, so I wanted to get engagement immediately off the bat, because I think that's really important. When you start a Facebook group, you want to make sure that there's constant activity, otherwise people will leave. So I invited as many people that I knew were in the area as possible. I asked them to invite their friends. I looked for the influencers. I looked for people who like to give their opinion, and I just put them all in one place. And then what I would do, just from having learned from the past, I would ask questions. If there was silence, I would ask my own questions, even if I knew the answer to it. Easy questions that I knew people would want to respond to.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what are some examples of questions that you asked to increase engagement right off the bat in your new group? Because I think that's important to, like, you didn't go blasting on there about new listings and open houses. I
did not talk about real estate in my mom's group until this 5 years later.
That's right.
Yeah, no. The beauty about Facebook groups is if you do have a business, you can connect you can say that it's powered by this business page on the cover of the Facebook group. So they know automatically that I do have a real estate team.
Yeah. And it's subtle, right? It's not
subtle. People don't want.
You're not saying it. You're not bragging about it. You're not in their face. And honestly, that's the attraction, right? Is when they have a question, they know what you do and they're going to come to you. And that's the power. What you're doing is you're providing value. You're providing a service. So back to the kind of the question here is, what were some of the questions that you posted right off the bat that seemed to get the most people involved and the most engagement?
Well, and also I would have some of my friends write questions too. I'd message them and say, hey, can you just ask this question and I'll respond to it. And then what would happen is it would make people feel a lot more comfortable asking their own questions when the time came. Once people start seeing everybody else asking questions, then they come out, they give their responses, they ask the questions. So certain examples of questions, what's your favorite restaurant? Do you have a dry cleaner in the area? Just simple, basic things. And then eventually as conversation starts going, you get more in-depth conversation.
So I love this. And this goes back to page versus group, right? So you want the page, because if you are going to do Facebook ads, and if you are going to have a business, it's kind of like the retail shop, right? The page. What's the difference between a page and a group?
So
why do a group instead of just a page?
So a page is going to be informative and a group is going to be interactive.
There you go.
So a page is going to be a place where you want to have create your brand, and a group is going to be where you want to have people who rave about you. You want to build a tribe. You want to get them to know you on a personal level.
Yeah,
It's
and I love that.
Personal than business.
And I love that because people get a page and a group confused.
Totally.
And I want everybody to make sure that they understand that this is about a Facebook group. And Facebook is going to this ultra support of groups. They are investing heavily in groups. So get on that wave right now.
They just spent over $10 million on a 1-minute ad for the Super Bowl. That's how vested they are in Facebook groups.
That's right. So some questions or to increase engagement is, where do you go to get pizza? What's your favorite restaurant? Where do I go to do dry cleaning? Honestly, that becomes a great service for people who are relocating to the area, because they're like, oh my gosh, where do I get these things done? When I moved to Atlanta, I had no clue about any of those things. I had to go to my source, my friends, to figure it out over time. And I have to tell you that Waze is the greatest invention ever, because I wouldn't have known how to make it through Atlanta if I hadn't had a GPS and Waze. So, all right. So the next thing is, like, what I think one really big thing is like, to date, like, have you gotten business from your Facebook groups?
Oh yeah, I've gotten probably over, in the 6 years, probably over like 26, 27 million.
Yeah. So it's fairly successful.
Yeah.
So how many groups do you have now?
I have a lot of groups. I probably have around 40 groups, but they're all different levels of interactivity. So I would say I have probably 3 or 4 really active ones that I'm really, really focused on. Yeah. And then I've had to find, the reason that people need to create Facebook groups is because it's really hard to find leaders who want to take that job. So if you can be that person, you're going to be well respected in your community, because people want to give back. They want to be able to give their opinions. They just don't know how to do it or where to do it. So you can be that vessel for them.
So the leadership side, what have you noticed in your community about your becoming the leader of this Facebook group? Have people who maybe don't know you knew you? What have you discovered with in real life? How has this Facebook group affected you, or what have you noticed?
So I would say that I've definitely become like the online mayor of my area. I'll go out in the street and people think they know me because I'm constantly posting things on Facebook. I'll be in a restaurant and people will be looking at their phones like to see if it's me, it's like that recognition.
You're like famous.
No. I'll have people who will come up to me and say, oh, did you, I sent my friend to you for a referral and I have no idea who they are. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's just they recognize me all the time, because when you have a Facebook group and you're constantly posting, you're going to be top of mind in everybody's newsfeed. So they feel like they are connected with you.
So we're getting a ton of questions on this. And by the way, those of you that have questions, do me a favor, please put your question below in the comments. We will not be able to get to all of them, but we will try to get to as many as we can. Lori Knutson, one of our certified referral trainers, had the question is, what do you feel about community pages versus like a community group? Like there are like everything you'd want to know in Boca Raton versus the group.
Yeah. I think both of them have their benefits. I just personally focused more on groups instead of pages because I wanted to build relationships with people, and it's more challenging to do that on a page because a page is really just sharing information as opposed to having conversations.
How did you invite people in the first place? How did you, so if you didn't know anybody, you didn't know their emails and you didn't know so on and so forth, how did you grow it in the beginning?
So in the beginning, I knew a few people. So I would, from dropping my kids off at school, I would meet parents. So I would take those people or neighbors. I would say to those people, listen, I'm looking to connect the community. I think it'd be really awesome if you would come in and bring your friends, and kind of got the word out that way.
What are the names of a couple of your group?
Oh, okay. I have, last week I started social distancing together, which is hilarious. About 4,300 people in it.
Yeah. Social distancing together. I recommend that everybody here joins that one. I'm a member of that group really as well. It's a very fun group. And yes, so it's a very fun group. And a lot of the memes are priceless, literally.
Yes, they do. It's a lot of fun. I have Journey to Mindful Growth, which is kind of people who are on a spiritual journey. I have Boca Raton Moms Connect, which is my largest group with almost 14,000 people.
Boca Moms Connect.
Boca Raton Moms Connect, yeah.
Boca Raton Moms Connect, which I have to tell you, using the word connect in your title is genius. People want to connect. Like connect is a buzzword for people. They do want the words community and connect are very, very powerful. I noticed that you used the word together in social distancing together. Those are very powerful words to use in your title. I love that. So there's already a community group in my area. Should I start another one? Should I start one?
Well, is there another realtor in your area? Does that stop you from selling real estate?
Yeah.
My people say that to me all the time. When I first started my mom's group, I think there were maybe 10 other mom groups, but I was just so focused on, you got to put your blinders on, right? And just make sure that yours is the best, that you're adding the most value, you're not spamming them, that you're just really there for the people and making sure that they feel part of something bigger than themselves. So always, don't feel intimidated by having other Facebook groups in your area. Just make yours better.
So I'm gonna throw a couple of additional ideas. What Nikki said is brilliant. I keep using the word brilliant with you.
Yeah.
I think you have triggered with the brilliant team to be associated with the word brilliant, which is, of course, brilliant. So the next thing is all right. So what about a niche or a niche page? I think of Rita Driver. Rita Driver plays ultra competitive softball. She needs softball players in Memphis as a group. She also does things with motorcycle riders, and she could easily do bikers in Memphis or bikers in Tennessee or whatever it may be. And I just think of all these different, niches that people could explore and work with to create their pages. It doesn't just have to be everything you'd ever want to know in Boca Raton.
No,
right?
it's, it should be something that you're passionate about. I always tell people when I teach that you've got to pick a topic that you're not going to get bored of, right? You've got to pick a topic that you're super passionate about, that you can talk about, that you can post funny things that that you're familiar with. So that's really what you should go with. I stay away from anything real estate related because I don't want people to know me as like just a realtor and salesy. I want them to get to know me as a person, an individual.
I have to tell you, I know that we're not ultra familiar with each other. We know each other, but what's funny is how exactly what I teach is this, don't chase, attract. Quit chasing, start attracting is several presentations that I do on how to attract business. And what's funny is the less you talk about real estate, the more other people's will talk about you as a realtor. The more you talk about real estate, the less others will talk about real estate around you. And the thing about it is, what's funny is you can almost have this mysterious type of atmosphere around the business. It's like, what does she do? Oh, she does real estate. And then somebody else tells them about you, which is 10 times more powerful than you telling them about you, through the triangle of trust and the power of the third party endorsement. So I love that we're really making it a focus that, if you're a financial planner, you're not in there every day touting about financial planning. If you're a real estate agent, you're not touting about real estate. If you're doing insurance, you're not asking everybody to do an insurance review every day. Be human, be a person in the community first. And really what's happening is be a leader in the community. You're going to lead this group. How long does it take you on a daily basis to monitor and oversee 40 groups?
So, I'm on Facebook a lot, but that's just because my groups are my one thing. I like I said, I love connecting people. So it's throughout the day, it's sporadic. It's not, I'll time block in the morning to look at posts and at lunch and in the afternoon. But if I'm also not doing anything, I'll scroll through and see if there's anything that's relevant. It's not really, it's not a big deal. It doesn't take a lot of time because I might have like 10 posts to look at and I can just skim through them and it's done. It's a few seconds. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. You can do it very quickly.
The other thing that makes it a win, right, is that I really like to help my community, give back to my community, help people figure out how they can give back. So our team does drives every month. We'll do a different drive. Like we'll help the moms clean out your closets. We're going to do Dress for Success, clean out your kids' toys. We're going to donate to foster children. So what happens is we get people from the community to bring all of their stuff to our offices. So they get to meet us in person in our real estate office. And kind of, it's just a win-win for everybody.
Well, that's the next thing that I was going to ask is, have you ever taken this online group and done IRL events with these groups?
Oh, all the time. Yes. We have, last year we did an Easter egg hunt. I think we had like 600 or 700 people from the community come to it. And what we did in those events is we would have at the very front. So we don't promote those events as the Brilliant Team. We promote it as a Boca Raton Moms event sponsored by the Brilliant Team. And then the Brilliant Team has a VIP tent right by the entrance with swag for our clients. So everybody has to walk by and they all want the swag, but you have to be a client or a referring person, referring client to.
Okay, once again, brilliant, right? I mean, one of the things, I mean, it's so amazing. Like we tell people, listen, the first rule of client events is you don't call them client events. Don't use the word client appreciation or customer appreciation. They are friends and family events. And there's a lot of reasons to do that you don't want to be exclusionary. You don't want RESPA involved. You don't want it to be about business. You want it to be personal. There's a lot of reasons to do that. But I will tell you the thought of, okay, we have a Facebook group that is going to have an event and we're going to be the sponsor. And guess what? It all works together. It's really you anyway. But the thing is, it increases the amount of people in and the awareness of your group. But it also is a way to really re-accentuate that it is a friends and family community event, not a client event. I have to tell you, I absolutely love that. I hope everybody noted that. And they are kicking butt with that. So, all right. So I'm checking questions here. Will you cross off, please, the ones that we've covered? How do you name the group? Do you have any secret sauce on how to name the group? I noticed you've used the word together and connect. So
it depends what your goal is, right? It depends who you're trying to appeal to. So I would use words that appeal to that specific area, if that's what you're looking for, and what your passion is. So bring those things together and make it short and sweet.
I love it. And I would also jump in with, I really recommend using the word friends, using the word together, using the word connect, use the word community. If you are in an area, if you're a city, using the name of the city has to be part of the deal, you know. The other thing is, by the way, we're right at 30 minutes. Nikki, can you hang out for another 10 minutes? Are you good with that? Okay, so I really appreciate that. By the way, if you're going to hang
go anywhere.
yeah, don't go anywhere, right?
I gotta go clean my floors.
Your backsplash, right? I got to clean my backsplash. So
right.
The word of the day is backsplash.
That's right.
So more questions are coming online. We'll make sure we get to those and make sure everybody gets a handle on that. I think one of the big things here is, by the way, a lot of you are exploring watch parties right now. And I know that the last time we did this, some of you did a watch party. In fact, one of you did a watch party in this group, which was a little confusing. But if you don't know how to do a watch party, you can do that very easily by just going down to share. And then there's 3 dots at the top. You just click on that and it will say, where do you want to share it? And there's actually, it says start a watch party. And you can do a start a watch party at any time during this. But the bottom line is somebody kept asking, like, how do I do a watch party? Like, there's probably 24 watch parties going on, Nikki, thanks to you. Thank you. But one of the things that's great is doing a watch party within a group. And have you done watch parties with groups?
So yeah, if there's a mayor, if the mayor's talking, I'll go to the page, I'll go to the mayor's page, and then I'll share it as a watch party into my group. And the beauty is that you get to see who's actually watching. So you can see who in your group is stalking the Facebook group when they don't, they're not interactive, they're not commenting, but you're like, oh, you're watching in my group, so I see you're here. So it's good to be able to keep an eye on that. No, I think it's a very helpful tool that Facebook created.
Do you interact in your group as yourself or as your real estate business?
I interact as myself.
Okay.
I've only just started this year using my group for
as the powered by.
Yeah, so I'll post as my group if it's something like look at this new commercial space with all these stores coming up in our area. Then I'll use my business, but very rarely. I prefer to do it directly through me.
So you're
what I can tell you is that if you look at my profile, most of my public stuff shows that I'm in real estate. And I feel like one of the first things people do is they look at the admin, right? Who is this person? Are they a reliable source? And then they can see that I sell real estate. So I don't need to throw it up in the group, because people can see that I sell real estate from my public page.
And they probably become a little hypersensitive, and they're worried that maybe you're going to market to them. And then when you don't, they have this whole new respect for you, you know?
Right.
And it is okay to put your realtor hat on every once in a while, you know, like now would be a good time is like, how is real estate being done? I think that the answer to that question is very universal. Like it's what I would want to hear from a realtor right now is don't sell me. Just tell me, like, how is it actually being done? You know, right now.
How you're speaking to your clients, you know, hopefully we're all calling our database and our clients and our, you know, the people that we're currently working with and explaining what's going on in the market and how we're selling real estate. You do that, you could go live in your group and explain to people, this is what we're going to be doing.
I love it. And we're getting some questions on the watch party. And yes, you can do a watch party, even though this is a private group. And this is a private group. So, all right. So is there a way to mass invite people to your group?
No, you can only do it by individually inviting a bunch of people.
Yeah. Did you ever do anything to have your group members invite other group members?
I do prizes all the time. If you go into social distancing together, the announcement, by the way, you should all join and you should all invite your friends.
There you go. Yeah, she just did that. Way to model it. Way to model the behavior you're teaching. I love that.
The announcement is, I have these hats.
There you go. Nice.
That we had made for the group.
Nice.
So we're asking people to invite their friends. They have to add 20 people, and then they have the chance of winning one of these hats.
Well, we're gonna add like 2,000. Do I get a hat?
If you invite 2,000. Oh, right.
I think we're going to invite about 2,000 right now. So do I get a hat?
Yes. If people come in and say, I was invited by Michael. No, but these are, you know, this is also, again, this is a small business owner who is making these hats. They're going to be closing down distribution tomorrow. Wow. So I'm trying to help her make as much money as possible before we all get, you know, quarantined and stuck inside. So guys, buy a hat from In Between. This is, you know, helping small businesses, whatever we can do.
Amen. And by the way, I have to announce our winner from yesterday. Brenda Conine won the beautiful Army of Ambassadors shirt. Please notice that on the back of this, you're going to want to work out with this because it says, ask me about referrals. You'll walk around the neighborhood. Brenda Conine, C-O-N-Y-N. But what she really wanted was this awesome coffee cup. So, Brenda, message us and we will make sure that you get that from last time. And I know you're going to be really happy about that. So, here's the thing, in your group, have things that they can win. Don't be afraid to ship things. I mean, Amazon will ship it for free.
And also small businesses want to promote their stuff. So they'll give you stuff free to give away. Ask small businesses that you know.
On that note, Nikki, have you ever done interviews with small business owners that are local in your Facebook groups?
So that actually is part of our plan for this year, which we had a little bit of a hiccup. We are going to be doing, I just created another Facebook group for business owners in my area. So I have about 40 small businesses and we're kind of keeping each other, the morale up. You know, listen, we're the ones who make the choice of being entrepreneurs, right?
That's right.
We take the risk and we're going to thrive through this. There's just no question. I feel so positive about it. Like, it's going to be great. We're going to do really well.
Amen to that. And so it's so funny. Like we've talked about 9 million great ideas on like creating and leading a Facebook group. And we have people who are like, how do I get the hat again? And it's like,
wait, this hat?
I mean, but it's like, it's totally the greatest example ever of exactly how you build engagement and build your group, right?
That's right.
I love it. I love it. So let's see. People are having trouble finding the social distance group. Can we post?
Social distancing together. I'll send you the link for the group.
Perfect. It's facebook.com/groups/what? Do you know what the what is behind that?
I don't know what the what is.
Okay, so like this group is facebook.com/groups/join right? So if for some reason you can't tag it on Facebook, people can actually get the link. So anyway, we'll get that, Nikki, we'll get that out to them. We don't have to.
All right, perfect. This is what it looks like.
How do you, there you go. Nice. So it's the naked dudes on a picture. I'm just kidding. It's David. It's what is that? God and David? That's Michelangelo's David. Michelangelo's, is it David? Called David? What's the name of that? I should know that. Anyway, so it's a good one.
It's David I don't remember.
Yeah. So anyway,
somebody made the hat for me. Somebody made my cover for me. Leverage.
And they've got sanitizer in their hand instead.
No, they have toilet paper. We changed it to a toilet roll.
All right. We just tagged it, so it's in there for everybody.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. We just added 2,000 people to your group.
Thanks. Appreciate
it. Let's see. Oh, how do you pick moderators for your group? Right. So great to get help on these groups. And so how do you pick moderators? And by the way, if you would like to be a moderator for this group, please put moderator in the comments below, and we will consider you to be a moderator for the Generosity Generation group. If you're interested, it will take a little bit of time. So just know that. So how do you pick moderators, and what roles do they have?
So when I first get started, it's kind of like being a team leader, right? Like I have a vision and I want to kind of set the expectation for everybody else and have them buy into it. So I pick people who I know are reliable, who have a really big sphere so they can invite all of their people, and the influencers. Those are the people that I pick.
Well, I have to tell you, that was extremely honest, is you're picking people with influence with the hope that they'll invite their group members and their people that they know. And they're reliable and they're commitment people. So, by the way, if you're not one of those below, then you may not be picked. I just want you to know that. But we'll find a role for everybody. It's the Generosity Generation. We literally have a role for everybody. You can be the ambassador of something. We have ambassadors of almost everything in the group right now. You're the ambassador of Facebook groups right now, Nikki, just so you know. We're going to be the ambassador of London, but we have a couple of those.
Okay, fair enough.
So, all right. Picking moderators. Do you give them a role? Like, what do you give the moderators to do? What do they need to do?
Go through, I explain what posts are allowed and what posts we shouldn't allow in.
Okay.
But we work together, this is not, there's no I in team. Like we all give our input and we all decide together what's going to work, what isn't going to work. Ultimately, if I think that if they agree on something and I'm like, it just doesn't sit right with me, I'm not feeling it, then, I'll overrule it. But for the most part, we all agree on everything and just we set the tone.
Do you have meetings with them, or do you do just Facebook message with them, or how formal or informal is your leadership of the moderators?
We do Zoom calls when we start. So when I first started the social distancing together, I had this vision of what it is now, but the first day was like meme after meme, and it was too much.
Yeah.
So, and there was some really inappropriate stuff. And then there was also a ton of realtors in there, like trying to do real estate stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
Instantly, we kind of shifted that tone by not allowing anything real estate related, not allowing anything inappropriate, and asking our own questions to set the tone of not just having memes, but also starting discussions.
I love it. I love it. And, so
you have to lead by example. I mean, that's the way it works. Is like
say that again. You cut out.
You have to lead by example. So if you're setting the tone and you're asking questions, then people understand like, oh, this is where we're going with this.
I'm even going to put this out there. You didn't say it, but it's better for them to hate me a little bit maybe right now. But you have to have moderators. I'm just saying right now listen. It's if you're really about connecting and together and taking leadership of this, most moderators don't need a ton of leadership. They'll figure it out on their own. This is just being human. But I'm telling you that today, everybody with your accountability partner, your job is to create a Facebook group, and you are going to either assign your accountability partner to being a moderator. They don't have to, but you need to assign at least one moderator who you know is kind of either passionate about you or they're passionate about the same subject that you're doing the group on. And I want everybody to get at least one moderator, because here's what I've discovered with life in general is we're not an island. No man is an island. No woman is an island. And together, everyone achieves more. You know, she said earlier, there's no I in team, but I will tell you that if you do the group on your own, if it's not a success, you don't worry about it. And if you have an accountability partner, your group will be a success because there's one other person watching you. But number two is that together, everyone literally achieves more. You can work together and you don't feel like you're in it alone. And you guys just go passionate. For this week, I want your big item for this week and through the weekend is to create a Facebook group and get at least one moderator. Yesterday, we talked about an action item, which was to identify your top 25 people. Those are the people that you're going to invite to your Facebook group. And we also talked about writing a handwritten note. In the comments below, who did you write your handwritten note to? I want you to put their name. You can put their first name if you're hypersensitive, right? But put the name of the person you wrote the handwritten note to yesterday in the comments below. And then create and lead a Facebook group is your accountability for today. That's it. Like, I'm not giving you 1,000 things. I'm not giving you 3 days of 12 hours of content. I'm giving you 1 hour, 45 minutes today of content, 15 minutes to work on it. Create and lead your Facebook group. If you are, you know what? If you're going to create a Facebook group today, put NMW in the comments below. NMW is no matter what. You're going to do it no matter what. You're going to start it even if there's only one person in it and it's you, and you're just talking to yourself every day for the rest of the next 60 days. But no matter what, NMW. I want NMW in the comment section there we go. For those that are going to commit to creating and leading a Facebook group using Nikki's knowledge and Nikki's examples. Nikki, yeah. I swear to God, I have personally 30 plus more questions about what you're doing. And I'd love to do maybe a more extended, Q&A session on that. Maybe we do Facebook groups advanced or something down the road if you're open to that. And the reason I have 30 more questions is because I know that you have a lot more brilliance to share and a lot more wisdom to share on this subject that we have just scratched the surface on. So
I'm really passionate. I don't know if it's brilliance. I'm just really passionate about the subject. And what I will encourage your listeners to do is be really patient and consistent, because you're going to want, I got over 4,000 people joining, or we did, my group did, in a week. That is not normal. So if you get a few people a day, just talk to those people like you're having conversations. Don't worry about the numbers. It's much more important about the quality of what you're posting than the amount of people that you bring in.
Quality over quantity, people. Quality over quantity. I did not say add 250 people to a Facebook. 25. Your 25 most energetic, positive people. Now, we have some other plans for this 25 people, right? We're going to do a Zoom party. We're going to do some handwritten note things. We're going to do some, what could you really need help with? We're going to do some cool things with your top 25 down the road. But this week, you're going to get them in the group and you're going to ask them to invite 25 of their own. And who knows, you may end up with just 25. You may end up with 625 or whatever it may be of really cool, energetic, positive people. And, you know, I only have one rule with my groups really, and that's no jerks allowed. You know,
Right.
we're just, I don't have time for that. I died once, and I will tell you, I've just learned in life, I don't have time for jerks. So, you know, it's just like in team, people go, there's no I. And some people, well, yeah, there is. Yeah, it's in the A hole. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking right there, is if you are the I in team, you are an a-hole, right? I mean, if you actually look at the A and you put a circle in the middle of the A and you put a little rectangle in the bottom of the A, it looks like a lowercase I, but notice that it's in the a-hole. So anyway, I bet you guys didn't know that.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I was following along, but
yeah, I'm gonna have to share that.
He's painting a picture, but what is this picture he's painting?
Yeah. So I have to tell you, man, it's like you shared your couch picture, and I was like, I could not figure out, like, is that really a couch? I literally kept looking at it like,
that's a good one.
Is that a couch? Yeah, where's this? Like, is there really a couch there? It's like, I mean, I literally, it's one of those where you always look and you always laugh because you're like, you can't.
Optical illusion, right.
So anyway. So I have to tell you, I really appreciate you. We took up much more of your time than we anticipated, but there were a ton of questions, and it's obvious that provided a ton of value. And one of the things that I covered yesterday is I covered the 7 things that matter most, especially in a time like these. And the 7th thing was mastery matters. And it really does. It's like, I believe in life is to, I really believe that our purpose in life is to be referable. Like, I think that's our purpose in life, is to be referable. So what's it take to be referable? High character, high integrity, highly competent. You got to be really good at something. Like, what would people hire you to do? What would they walk miles to hear you talk about? That's the highly competent. And then you need to be able to communicate that about your integrity and about your highly competent, whatever it may be. And you are a master at Facebook groups, and you're like, well, I'm developing, but you're way ahead of the crowd because you're passionate about it and you've stuck to this. And you talked earlier about patience and consistency. Well, patience and consistency equals mastery. You know, brilliance plus resilience equals excellence, right? So it's one of those where it's one of those, I just love what you've done with Facebook groups. And what's funny is like, people kind of like, oh yeah, I need to kind of create a Facebook group, and I kind of need to do it, and it's kind of a good idea, and this, that. Well, how do you freaking feel now about that idea? You know, boy, I sure wish I would have created that Facebook group 10 years ago. But the thing is, the best time to create a Facebook group was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. And the beautiful thing is, Nikki and here are here to help you create and lead your Facebook group.
Yes, if you can bring people, I don't want anyone to ever feel lonely. That's kind of what my driving passion is. Mm-hmm. So if I can help you bring your community together so that there's one person who's sitting at home alone that doesn't feel alone because you've created this group that they can feel part of something bigger than themselves, that's all I need. That makes sense.
I love it. Nikki, one more time. We had people join us a little bit late.
Yes.
Tell us how people can connect with you, what you do, and where you're located, and what kind of referrals you'd like.
Sure. I sell real estate in Boca Raton, Florida. So I would love your referrals. I will take great care of whoever you send me, treat them like family. And I always tell my clients that our relationship really begins after the closing, because that's when we really dig in and have our events and parties and connections and emails and check in with them. So thank you.
So I have a referral for you.
Okay.
It's now I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm not sure that they are connected to a referral in Boca, but they are moving to Boca for sure.
Okay.
And they have a home to sell in my neighborhood, literally right around the corner. And they are moving to Boca for sure. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen on that end or what has already happened. But at the very least, I will connect the two of you. You take it from there. Here's the deal. No referral fee needed. You don't need to pay me on that. No big deal. I appreciate you being on. And honestly, it's such a dotted line referral. If it was 100%, maybe we'd talk a different story. But the bottom line is I'm going to get David and his wife to you. And
and just so you know, if I do end up closing them, you're getting a referral on it. I don't do that.
You know what? I'd appreciate it. I mean, because I do, yeah. So anyway, whatever.
Okay.
Bottom line is I do have a referral for you. I hope everybody here considers referring you in the Boca area. It's a beautiful area.
Palm Beach County, West Palm, down Pompano. We go to Pompano. We go to Park of Broward, Parkland.
Beautiful area, beautiful location. And so I encourage everybody to connect on social distancing together. The group has been tagged below. If you don't know how to tag a group, like if you wanted to tag the Generosity Generation group with friends or your broker or whatever, you just hit the @ sign and start typing in generosity, and it will pop up and you can just tag it that way. And people can click on it. They can come to the group. They go through the application process. Most of the time, if they've been referred by a member, we let them in. But the bottom line is that's the way to tag. Below in the comments, we tagged social distancing together. I am a member of that group. I love the group. Nikki runs the group, so you can see a great model of somebody leading a group with moderators. And man, I have to tell you, we gotta cut this out. Like I said, we could talk all day on this topic, but I want to be respectful to people's time. They blocked off until 2 minutes from now. So Nikki, wow, I keep wanting to like yell brilliant, like a beer commercial. Speaking of beer, we are going to do a party on Friday where I think we're going to do it 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a Zoom party. It'll be limited to 50 people. And beer, BYOB, you're going to bring your own beer, and I'm going to have a beer. Actually, I'll have an Angry Orchard. But the bottom line is Friday night, we are going to do that. It will be ultra casual, and we'll just have a little bit of fun on Friday night, which Nikki helped me with. We're actually accountability partners in the science of well-being, and I took the test on strengths. And you guys aren't going to believe this. No, you will. Is fun was one of my non-strengths. Like my strengths were integrity and like connectivity, all that. Fun was one of the things I needed to work on. So we're gonna have fun Friday night, and you guys are gonna help me do it, and we're gonna have fun together. So, Nikki, thank you for being my accountability partner for the science of well-being. And if you ever feel the urge to get out of that, just let me know.
No, I want to do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a special broadcast, a special episode of the Referrals Podcast, which you can check out at referralspodcast.com. This is episode number 2 of the Daily Dose, your daily dose of productivity and positivity. We've got to have it. We've got to stay productive. We've got to stay positive. Nikki Klein helped you do that today. And I will tell you, I'm so excited about tomorrow's guest. We have Adam Hergenrother, one of the greatest leaders on the planet, who's going to join us on Thursday. We have Stephanie Havel, who's one of the top lenders in the world, who is going to take you through a positive words. What's in a name? We're going to have a great exercise on Thursday. And then Friday, we have Tristan Ahumeda, who leads a group of over 100,000 people. He's going to be here on Friday. That's the rest of the week. Next week, we've got Bob Berg. Down the road, we've got Todd Duncan, Hal Elrod, and a host of other really powerful people not named Michael J. Maher. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about the Daily Dose. And Nikki, thank you so much. Thank you for being on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.